Hi everyone. As you can see, I'm back to the original format. I thought that the angle that I was using a second ago, where the camera was a little bit lower and I was higher, didn't work so well. It was kind of nice to have the podium in front of me, but I got a little bit flustered because the UMUC colleagues were in actually to give me support, so it was very nice of them, but a little bit distracting. Let me kind of conclude the Descartes sequence here. Put most simply, and it's not simple, but it can be put in relatively simple terms. What Descartes is arguing for is how important philosophy is, number one. Number two, he's saying that unless you embark or engage in philosophical reflection, you're basically anxious, confused, and ill at ease in everything you do. Why? Because you can always consider either subliminally, let me put it like this, or directly, how can I possibly know the life around me? And that, of course, takes thousands and thousands of different questions. How can I be sure of my relationship? How can I be sure that I'm a good parent? How can I be sure that my choice of car is good? How can I be sure that my choice of profession is good? How can I be sure that my voting is good? And so on and so forth. This is basically everything. And what Descartes is saying is that unless you think about the fundamental things, and that basically means God and the soul, and the soul, you really can't come to terms with anything at all. Now, if you'll be so kind as to look at the text, again, you'll find something really interesting, because in the last paragraph of Meditation 1, notice he feels, well, I haven't explained something. There's one more little thing. And so Descartes says, well, the tension in this is horrible. How can I possibly proceed when I can't answer the question about God and me, so to speak? And so he says, what I'll do is I will imagine an evil genius who is always set out to confuse and disturb me, and I will assume that I'm always being tormented by this. Okay, this is kind of a device to make sure that he's rigorous and to make sure that he doesn't relapse back into sort of normal everyday life and habit and prejudice. Okay, so then he sets up his little thing. I will continue to look for the truth. Who does this sound like? It sounds like Socrates. It sounds like the world of the cave. And I will always assume that I don't know, that I'm being tricked at every moment. Is there anything that I can know? Okay, now, this line of reasoning goes in two directions. The first direction is something that we won't be doing in our course. It's as you can imagine, Meditation 2, where he begins to look for the next layer of truth, so to speak, the next dimension of truth. Okay, that's one line of reasoning. After our class is over, you're of course welcome to read Meditation 2. It's even more famous, and if I can, find a few moments of relatively free time, I'll go ahead and I'll give you a little video introduction to that. The other line of reasoning I think is extremely interesting, because he says, oh, this is too difficult. The tension is too great. I feel as though I'm getting tired and falling asleep and about to re-enter the world of illusion. Okay, now what does this sound like? This is exactly the Plato dichotomy between outside the cave and inside the cave. And this is partially what I mean by the continuity of philosophy, because you have this dualism between illusion on the one hand and truth on the other, and the philosopher is the sort of mediator between those two. As a normal human being, he's trying to deal with illusion and falsity and, at another level, evil. And he's also trying to come to terms with the truth. So that's basically what philosophy is. Philosophy is this struggle between illusion on the one hand and truth on the other. And I think we all have this underlying need to proceed with this. Part of this whole situation, however, is the difficulty, and you almost want to say impossibility, because the tendency is to fall. The tendency is to return to one's earlier state of living life without really examining it, living life without asking questions, living life half asleep, surrounded by shadows, as we studied in the cave and the apology, and to some extent the symposium. Okay, so that's it for Descartes. I hope that helps. I'm gonna do my moment of truth with